is go ahead and dig right in and show a little clip of Barbie's first vlog post, just in case some of you didn't get to catch it quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and roll that clip.
Hi. Okay, let's see. Where should I start? My name is Barbie Roberts. I have 3 sisters, and we live in Los Angeles. Well, Malibu. But I'm originally from Wisconsin. We moved here when I was 8 years old. My parents are both writers, and they just really loved the idea of raising their kids by the beach. But we still go back to Wisconsin every single year for the holidays, so I feel like we get the best of both worlds. I get to surf, and I get to snowboard. My friends and I just really love sharing new ideas, new music, favorite movies, videos, tips on personal style. So my sister Skipper wanted me to start this vlog. Ta-da! My first post. Introducing myself. Here are 10 things you may or may not have known about me. My 2 favorite
Okay, guess we're gonna cut it off there. So you'll have to tune in. You'll have to tune in to find out more. That and many more things.
Cliffhanger.
So why don't we just go ahead and dig right in and just talk about the inspiration and even the process behind, reimagining Barbie as a vlogger. I think creating this very authentic, specific personality is something different than what we've seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first I would just like to acknowledge the fact that it's so fun to come up here and be Barbie, right? After all of the speakers today, and I think there's so many different perspectives and experiences with that brand out there in the audience, whether you've seen her as a pop culture icon at SNL or you grew up playing with her like I did. I think what's interesting about this brand is it's really about a girl's imagination and how she's playing out that imagination and really on a path to self-discovery. And so I think ultimately this platform allowed us a really unique opportunity, I think, to begin to have that voice and really speak to, I think, what already this brand is really, resonating and delivering, I think, as a promise to girls.
I would say yes to all of that. And also the thing that's interesting is that Barbie for years has not really had a voice. And right now, in a year that a woman is running for president, we talk about how Barbie was the first person on the moon. Barbie was the first woman who ran for president. Barbie had all these firsts, but she's never really spoken. So right now, it's great. We have a woman running for president. It's great that you can break the glass ceiling, but what's really important is what you say. So when we were given the opportunity to actually give her a voice, doing it on YouTube seemed the most authentic to give her personality than anything else that we've done. So it was really, really exciting and fun.
Yeah, I imagine. Were there any other sort of YouTube channels or vloggers out there that you were inspired by or that she was inspired by?
Yeah, I think holistically it's really more about the idea of vlogging, and I think it's really about how we more, and this is an overused word, but I kind of authentically connect with our consumers. And I think, vlogging is such a popular way that, our fans are already engaging on the platform that we just wanted to find a way more authentically to bring her to life. It was actually the brainchild of a gentleman who's not with us here today, Isaac Quiroga, many of you know, and I think he really saw that opportunity for us to really, I think, take a leap into, something that would deliver on that with, with girls and with our fans kind of around the world. And I think that's what really kind of was more our aspiration was how do we do it? And in essence, how do we really deliver like the first animated character, really in this form? And that was what really excited us. But of course, scared us too, because ultimately then we had to deliver on it creatively, which Julia's done such a great job of.
Well, and I'll say that the secret shout out is I am a mother of 3 children. I have a 16-year-old daughter, so I was a Barbie girl. My daughter loved Barbie. My daughter is now this amazing, wonderful feminist woman who is just on her phone all the time. She just lives social 100%. So everything that we write, I run by her. So it's not that there's a vlog that I'm watching. She's like, Mom, that's not what people do. So we have our own Anna Ayzenberg shout out.
Great, great. I mean, have you learned anything new from your audience yet that maybe you didn't know before you were doing the vlog?
Well, we totally 100% devour every single comment. I mean, I live on it. Like we are Barbie, as it is our vlog post, right? We're just watching it all the time. So we have done vlogs based on what people said they want to see, what people like. So it's complete. What we love is it's completely real time. We've created what is for us a really new and amazing animation model. As LeAnne said, we want this to be as day and date as possible. So while it's the first video vlogger, it's not done, it's not scripted a long time in advance and just put up there and run through a bunch of marketers. It's done in as close to real time with mocap as possible so that we can respond to our fans and our subscribers.
Yeah, and I think we're onto something because like we posted this first vlog, which you'll have to go check out the rest, just a couple weeks ago, and within like the first 6 days, we had more likes than we'd had on any other video we'd put up for the previous 6 months. So right away you get that instant feedback right from an audience in terms of how they're engaging, and you're on the right path, and you can lean into that and really deliver more. And that's the beauty of this and what's so exciting and so different than anything else we've ever produced before.
And I think it's going to affect our content and sort of the brand across the board. I mean, literally, people are like, we like that hairstyle. It's like, oh, okay. So we'll do all of that hairstyle, or we'll put that in a movie. But I mean, it's just wonderful to have a real-time connection.
Yeah, communicate directly with your audience like that.
Yeah, I think, for those of us who may have come from, sort of longer form content, creation, it's like when we animate our movies, we do a ton of research, but usually it's a stage where you can't really incorporate that feedback in real time, into it. So you can't change the hairstyle that you have in a movie necessarily. So that's what's so wonderful about this platform is it's quick, it's real, and you can react.
So I think about 3 months ago was when the first vlog launched. Is that about right? And already over 1 million views, and the channel over 750,000 subscribers. So I think we could all agree, okay, it seems like this is working, but can you speak any more to KPIs that you guys are using to measure performance?
Yeah, sure. I think it's complicated, right? Because we do have so much data and so many analytics to look at. But I think there's several factors, and one certainly is engagement. And I appreciated the comment that that's kind of a complex, kind of broad term. But like the likes that we're getting, I think getting the kind of shares that we see and sort of getting all that feedback is certainly one important KPI for us. I think retention and looking at how we're keeping our consumers and how much watch time and how long that content is then leading to more engagement across the rest of the content we're programming into our channels is also critical. I think for us, it's a global brand, right? And it's so we have an audience that is voracious for this content around the world. So we're also really considering how this content resonates with our fans. And I would say, last but not least is how are our fans discovering this content, and is it because we're doing a really good job of programming and driving them through with things like annotation, or is it really that it's becoming very searchable, meaning that we're really getting a lot of engagement and therefore YouTube is favoring our content through their own algorithm. So I think it's a mixture of all of those things that we're ultimately looking at, but I would say engagement's a really important one because seeing fans like and share and comment is what's unique about this and really rewarding.
Do you think you'll ever tie, is there an e-commerce part of this, or is this really all about brand awareness and expansion?
I don't think we'll do e-commerce. I mean, we do content for Barbie. Barbie's not just about driving product. I think that right now wouldn't really be authentic. I think right now she is who she is.
Yeah, and I think ultimately this is a content platform, you know what I mean? It's ultimately a channel that sort of what's unique about it is that ultimately we're not only the creators, but we're also the programmers and we're the advertisers. So we're sort of everything in an ecosystem where typically we've been reliant on so many other partners in that process. And so I think that makes it, somewhat unique, but we definitely view it as a content platform along those disciplines. And that's really, I think, what the benefit of the platform is.
And I think we would add too that just because I'm so in love with Barbie and getting to work on this, is that again over the years she's this cultural sort of icon that people can project so much on. She's a doll that people project so much about just this sort of society, and she hasn't had a chance to talk. And we know who Barbie is. We know what she stands for. We know what her principles are. We know how much fun she is. So giving her a voice is, I think, one of the things that's most important for the brand, just so people can actually hear her and not just see her in a box.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know she was from Wisconsin. There's a lot of details in there.
And she is.
She is
from Wisconsin. Willows,
that's great. Well, I think
Wisconsin.
so. As the digital video distribution climate continues to change, I mean, how does Vlogger fit into your overall content strategy and potentially across other platforms?
Yeah, I think, we deliver content across a variety of platforms from long form to short form. And I think, ultimately, this is something that's very unique. We feel it's very authentic to what YouTube is, and I would say, and Julia's heard me say this way too many times, but I harp it constantly amongst all the marketing teams, is it's really about the right content on the right platform, right? You know what I mean? So thinking about what's unique, and so for us, I think YouTube, and the blogger in particular is so authentic to that channel that as much as we have control over it, it will remain, I think, ultimately a YouTube destination.
And I think it balances out the portfolio of content that we do. I mean, we have made 33 girl empowering, direct-to-consumer movies. Barbie Life in the Dream House is sort of directed to a different audience, which is hugely successful. Vlogger is successful for a certain girl, and it's just we're creating a portfolio for everybody.
And does that include sort of a transmedia approach? I mean, she's got like a huge app following as well, right? So does that sort of tie in anywhere across the board?
It does.
Yeah.
And we do have a story map, we do. You can talk about it if you want. Or
No, absolutely.
Well, I was going to say, but what's interesting about Barbie, unlike other transmedia properties, it is not a story-driven property. It's a character-driven property. And to LeAnne's point, at the very core of the DNA, it's about an individual's interpretation of Barbie. So it's about girls telling their own stories and having their own imaginations. So we have a story map so that it's all sort of balanced out, but we don't want to be imposing. That's the challenge on the vlog. We're giving a personality, but we are not imposing a rigid story, because we want to be encouraging people to tell their own stories. So our map is definitely there, but it's also important to us that it be very interactive and fluid.
Yeah, and I think this was discussed a bit earlier too, but as we work across sort of all of our platforms, our social media platforms, and sort of all of those channels, that we're also really thinking about assets very differently, right? We used to create a movie, and then you would, cut that up, and you'd have UPK clips, and you'd kind of hope you'd have enough to kind of feed the beast. But now we're really thinking about how do you create the type of assets up front that really begin to speak to those particular platforms. And I think that's been a real learning for us, and I've heard that repeated today, so I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I mean, even pushing through content so quickly internally, especially for sort of maybe something that could skew younger, seems like it could have some real challenges. So I think that's awesome. So what's next? Can you give us any sort of input on, will Skipper be making a cameo, or Ken?
Oh yeah. So Ken is definitely going to do my makeup. There'll be that for sure. Probably not until we build that asset. I think all the sisters will make an appearance. Chelsea is already kind of really interested in what Barbie's doing, and she's a bit of a prankster in her personality, so she might be doing some things that are unexpected that even Barbie is not aware of on her vlog. And we're doing a Draw My Life, which we're really, really excited about, so that we can all learn more about her childhood.
Great. Well, I want to go ahead and put it over to the audience. Are there any additional questions in the room? Right behind.
Thanks, Jay. Great panel. That's awesome that Barbie's on YouTube. A lot of girls who are into Barbie are also on Snapchat and Vine and Instagram and all those other platforms. Is Barbie also going to be communicating on those platforms too? And is it in her voice? Is she going to be responding as her voice?
I think what's really unique about this brand in particular from some of the other brands that we're discussing today is in particular that we're speaking largely to a younger audience, right? And so I think with that comes a double-edged sword of we know they're there, and in fact they're adapting these technologies and these new platforms faster than we can even keep up, right? But at the same time, I think for a lot of those platforms they do skew older, and in many cases more towards parents or fans that for our brand may appreciate it for its fashion DNA. We have a huge following on Instagram called Barbie Style, which is purely a fashion-oriented play. So I think we have to think programmatically about what those different channels represent and who our audience is there, and I think program appropriately. But I know Vine is launching Vine Kids, and so I think as they kind of go further, and I think we feel it's even a more appropriate platform in the same vein that YouTube now has launched YouTube Kids, and we're finding more safe ways to continue to deliver this content to children. We'll certainly embrace all of them.
If we do that, she'll definitely do Vines. Aren't I creepy, by the way? The way I talk about her as if she's really real. When you start working at Mattel, you start or Barbie.
Oh, come on, there's going to
saying,
be other big Barbie's
super
gonna
do
fans
that.
out there.
Yeah. Barbie's going to do a Vine for sure. She's really into Vines, but she's waiting to be age appropriate. But she likes to create stories, so Vine is a great place for her to be.
Just picking up on that, how, with YouTube analytics being what they are, where you can really track 13 and up, how are you tracking sort of the demographics of who's watching this? I mean, there's a lot of subscribers, and I'm sure a lot of those people aren't necessarily, over 13. How are you tracking that, and how is that, helping your own understanding of the brand, and what limitations, and what do you hope to see with the, things like the YouTube Kids app to help you really understand your audience better?
No, absolutely. I think that's one of the challenges, and I think like many of the other panelists, we work really closely with Tubular and have really done some deep dives to really try to identify based on the content that's being consumed and kind of look at what those behaviors are and extrapolate out a lot of assumptions, which we have to do, right? When we see that the majority of the subscribers that are watching our channel are women, in the demographic that are very much our moms, we tend to have a pretty good inclination, I think, in terms of ultimately who's consuming the content. But I think they've given us a lot of really good information that helps us as we think about programming. But you do have to make a certain amount of leap of faith, and in a platform like this where we don't have the benefit of Nielsen ratings or something that would make these all so much easier.
But we are, just as a brand, we are trying to do some of our own sort of testing to see if girls are finding, treating as content, who are the girls, what are their ages, so that we have to make decisions on how entertaining it is for whom, But remember that Barbie's not just, she's not just for little girls. Like, everybody loves her of all ages.
Anyone else? Oh, here. This is piggybacking off of that a little bit, but specifically with the vlog. You can see photos of commenters and things like that, and I don't know if you know all the ages, but for the vlog specifically, do you know basically what the demographic is, and what is the interaction? What are they commenting about? What are they suggesting?
I think we can't, necessarily pinpoint, the target audience. I think you can kind of get some intimations, based on some of the comments and even some of the spelling. It can be an intimation as to maybe what the target age is. But a lot of the ideas actually that Julia has, was kind of, sneak peeking, I think, in terms of where we'll be going with the programming. A lot of those ideas, like Ken doing, Barbie's makeup, that comes purely from what kids are consuming and ultimately the feedback that they're giving us through comments and making suggestions. So as you guys watch the rest of the vlog, if you have any great suggestions, please join the commentary, because I think that's really what's the beauty of this is that we have a creative vision for it, but we can be really adaptable in terms of taking consumers' feedback.
And me as just a creative, obsessive producer looking at all so this is not based on any kind of research. It's interesting, when the vlog first came out, I think that the people that were consuming it were older, and they were giving older, really interesting comments, like, it's very interesting that she's this when the brand is doing that, so it was like, wow, very sort of intellectual. And as it's been out longer, now it's lots of like, I love you, kitty cat, kitty cat, kitty cat, kitty cat. So it's to me, that says younger. But even the I love you, like, it's like, I love your hair, let me see your room, I want to see what's in your bag. It's just so wonderful because it's just so sincere.
All right. Bill Buckley.
This is completely self-serving, if anybody knows me. I have 3 daughters, 11, 10, 8. 2 are Barbie girls, 1 is a skateboarder.
They didn't bring any Barbies with them today.
Oh,
But we can hook you up. No, we can hook you up. Just give us your card. Okay.
But for the audience, and to piggyback that last question, Barbie's dream house. I have sat through more. She's locked in the closet. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So truthfully, I was thrilled to see the vlog, but my 2 children didn't know about it. Do you know what I mean? So I think to echo your point is, like, I stumbled across it, I think, in Adweek, and then actually sent it home for them to see, and now they're getting into it. So I guess my question to you would be, it's great that I think it's being sort of curated by parents, older siblings that are getting them started, but from a multi-platform perspective, do you see on Barbie's Dream House there's going to be a break for a blog from Barbie, or how do you think you'll integrate it so we can get maybe quicker adoption by the younger set?
Yeah, we have a huge fan base for our web series, Barbie Life in the Dream
Totally.
House. Huge. It
Yes,
was a really
yes.
fun project to work on. So I think that there's a lot of passion behind that we know is translating to a lot of the engagement that we get on the channel. So I think there's a natural migration as we begin to introduce some of these. I think typically when we have sort of what we might refer to as sort of the more hero content amongst, kind of what we're putting on our channel, I think we're using some of that also as opportunities to even advertise and kind of drive more viewership. I think she's posted her third vlog like last week, so this is early for us, and I think we also wanted to put this out there and kind of really engage with the audience, and I think we'll continue to lean more into that, and I think that will allow us to give more kind of marketing visibility to it being there, as well as the the organic nature of kind of having consumers come in. But I think Barbie Life in the Dream House vlogger, we have a lot of other content both on the channel today and that we're developing because we're really seeing this platform for us as a channel and how we really need to program it, right? And along the lines of Google's best practice of Hero Hub Hygiene and the 3 H's, I mean, we're really thinking about, how do we start to program, and within that, it allow us more of those cross-programming opportunities that I think will drive even further engagement.
In truth, I think that's great because from like the Dream House perspective, it's just not as real. But I think the vlogger, to your point, gives the opportunity, especially from a parental perspective, to drop in some of those nuggets, which I think we appreciate our children seeing authentically in that channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think I was getting the wrap-up symbol, right? All right, any last questions? All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.